What's up everybody, this is Derek from Sit Stay Sober, and in this video we're going to go over some tips to help you with your nervous or fearful dog. 1. Do not overwhelm, or in like training or behavioral terms would be called flooding your dog. A lot of times people think like, oh, my dog is afraid of other dogs or people or the vacuum cleaner. I'm just going to expose it so much to these things, and my dog will eventually get used to whatever is causing this fearful reaction. And your dog can like habituate to it and like kind of get used to these things, yes, but like as far as like changing like the way they view these things, we don't want to do this to them, okay? You're better off letting them get slow, positive interactions with the thing or person that's causing them to be so fearful, right? So don't try to go too much and flood them, right? Or overwhelm them with new experiences and all that stuff. It's good to socialize them, it's good to give them new experiences, but they need to be positive, and they need to kind of be the one to set the pace. Like, you don't need to be the one to really push it. 2 is we don't want to coddle or reward fearful behavior. Okay, so it's a human instinct of ours to want to kind of like baby, or like in our minds, like we're like guiding them through a stressful situation, but what we're doing to the dog is, in the dog's mind, is we're reinforcing a behavior that we don't necessarily want for our poor dog. We want them to be calm and brave, and that's the body language that you want to reward. Okay, so this happens, it can happen with both sides of the spectrum of whether your dog's fearful or, being aggressive, right? And we try to use our words and our affection to kind of guide them through it, but if the dog is behaving a certain way and we're verbalizing and touching our dog and showing affection, the likelihood of them repeating that like sour behavior or the behavior we don't want is just gonna be increased. Okay, so common one is like dog's afraid of people. Grandma comes over and the dog is shaking like a leaf and not looking at grandma, and then we as the owner's like, it's okay, that's grandma, right? And we're petting her. This happens with an aggressive dog too, right? Like, so I'm saying fearful or nervous dog, but aggression a lot of times stems from fear. So, if your dog's afraid of the mailman and your dog starts putting on the show of get off my lawn, and we're just like, hey, that's Billy, that's the mailman, what are you doing? And we're petting him, right? So we don't want to do that either. So don't reward these fearful, explosive, or these anxious states of mind. Try to reward calm, curious behavior. Okay. 3 would be set your dog up for small wins and do it daily. Okay, so literally finding routines that that your dog can do and is willing to do, and really reward them and build these routines out. So like, you want to go for a walk, you have to sit. You sit, we put the leash on, you're the best dog in the world, we go for a walk, right? When you go for a walk, they pull you too hard, you stop, recall them, they come back to you. And you're just building out these little routines for them, so that way when they do get exposed to a stimulus or a trigger that's really overwhelming them, you can use these little routines to kind of guide them out of that little rut. So for me, if I'm working with a fearful dog, I'm personally probably trying to teach place And when they're at their place, that whoever the guest is, or um, who's ever at the house, knows that if they're there, you ignore them. Like, that's their safety little square. They can be left alone, and then when they go there, to please respect that, right? The other thing I'm doing is probably a recall, right? Like, is work on recall training, and basically you can do this recall training just naturally. Like, your dog naturally is going to want to come to you. So, like, they're curious on what you smell like and what you've been doing, especially if you've gone to work all day. So when they are following you around the house, you can reward them. And then you can combine that natural recall that's going on with putting a treat or a special toy on their place. You kind of just, you're starting to build this little positive routine, so that way when the guests do come over, instead of hiding behind the couch or running upstairs or potentially going after your guest, they have okay, follow mom or dad, go to my place. And by also allowing them to be at their place, it allows them to process and, observe the guest. And over time, what you can do is you can have your guests throw treats in the direction of the placemat, right? And whether the treat gets on the placemat or like just right in front, doesn't matter, just as long as the guest just throws the treat and ignores your dog. And again, all this is going to do is just allow your dog to process, like, oh, this person is not a threat, and oh, by the way, they actually have some sweet rewards. The benefits of them maybe throwing it a little bit off is that your dog gets rewarded for some bravery, like it takes a step off the placemat. And if your guest is over and your dog is still like totally overwhelmed by the person, just move the placemat farther or into another room away from the guest, right? Like, so like if your placemat's here and your guest is here, maybe your dog is still gonna be like, dude, I don't care how comfy that thing is, I'm out of here. So try to find a distance where the dog is actually not past its threshold. It's actually like right on this, it's be a sub-threshold. So then 4, I would say write all of these triggers or all these experiences that are causing your dog to be fearful or to be, maybe even fear aggressive. Hopefully it hasn't gone that far, but if it does, write all these things down, and whether it be date, time, location, what noises were around, try to get in the mind of your dog how close these triggers were when they were presented to your dog, and what kind of reaction you got. The more info and the more stuff that you track, when you do work with somebody or you start creating your own plan on how to fix these things, you'll actually be able to identify and maybe recognize patterns that are happening. So like there's a client I'm working with right now, and they noticed with their dog, it barks a lot during the day, right? So like, if the sun is out, it's barking, but like literally right after the sun goes down and it's dark, the dog's pretty quiet, and it's like, okay, the dog can't see. The dog can't see the neighbors. The dog can't see the leaves. It can't see the squirrels. So the second it's nighttime, it can't see out the window, it doesn't bark as much. So that's just a little pattern that you can recognize. So in that specific case that we're working with is just like, it's called managing our environment. And what do? Get the blackout shades, get the shades, get the blinds, put the blinds up, and your dog can't see out the window, and now you can start to at least enjoy some quiet time at the house and reward that calm behavior. And little by little throughout the week, you can open up the blinds just a little bit, pull the shades back just a little bit, and when she investigates but then looks away, boom, give them the reward. So again, don't flood your dog, don't overwhelm them. 2, reward calm, brave behavior, curious behavior. 3, try to create routines and little like little routines or tricks that are really rewarding for your dog. This is going to help build their confidence and potentially give you a strategy on how to deal when they're in that state of mind. And then 4, as you're doing this and living and learning about your dog, write all this stuff down so that way, whether it be you or when you start working with the trainer, you have a little case file that you can give to your trainer, and you guys together can come up with a plan, and you can kind of maybe avoid half the first lesson kind of talking about what it is. You'll be able to just give this to them, what you've done, what you've noticed, and from there you guys will be able to come up with a plan. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you in the next one.